What is up, guys? It's the John Gaz. I'm coming at you today with a new episode of Secrets of Cinema. We are venturing out of our comfort zone today and not doing a Pixar Disney movie. I actually had a fan suggest that I do Wizard of Oz because here's your first fun fact right here. According to a recent study, Wizard of Oz is claimed to be the most watched film of all time. That includes classics like Gone with the Wind, Sound of Music, any of the Lord of the Rings or Star Wars movies. It's the most watched film of all time, so there's your first fact. Isn't that cool? And before I jump into the rest of the facts, because I know that you can only see the top part of my shirt, someone in the last video commented saying, I was trying to read his shirt the entire time he was talking. This shirt says, I was young, I needed the money. So that's pretty hilarious. Fun fact about the shirt, it also makes an appearance in my Rugrats conspiracy theory video. Moving on past me, let's jump into the rest of the facts. Margaret Hamilton was the name of the actress who played the Wicked Witch of the West. She was originally only signed on to be working with the film for 6 weeks, but ended up working for 23. And actually, many of her scenes that she acted in were cut from the movie because she presented the witch character as too scary for audiences. And I can tell you firsthand that even the scenes they left in were really terrifying to me when I was a little kid, which is also who this movie was kind of directed at, so they probably made a good call on that one. Judy Garland, the actress who played Dorothy, had to wear a painfully tight corset-style mechanism around her torso to present her as being younger and flat-chested. To this day, nobody is happy about the flat-chested thing. In the first take of the scene where the Wicked Witch leaves Munchkin Land in a big cloud of smoke, the smoke came out too early and she missed the platform that she was supposed to be stepping on that raised her up. In the second tape, her cape got caught onto the platform and the fire that rose up from the set when she disappeared actually set fire to her makeup on her face and hands, causing second and third degree burns. The first take of the scene is what was eventually decided to be used in the movie. Some more makeup facts. Ray Bolger, the guy who played the Scarecrow, had to wear a tight rubber prosthetic mask around his face. The mask was designed to look like cloth and had weaves designed into it, and it was so tight it actually left indents in Ray Bolger's face for a year. According to the lead Munchkin, Jerry Marin, the Munchkins were only paid $50 a week for a 6-day work week for the film. Toto, the dog, was paid $125 per week. Now you have to remember that $50 a week was a lot more back then, but still, compared to a dog, that's kind of insulting. Yes, Toto appeared in more scenes, but I digress, I'm not arguing about that. Here's a pretty big fun fact. The song Over the Rainbow, that is probably one of the most famous songs of the movie, was almost cut from it. The studio MGM, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, the studio that has the big lion roaring at the beginning of every film, said that it made the Kansas scene seem too long. They actually decided to put the song in a different part of the movie where Judy Garland, Dorothy, was captured in the Wicked Witch's castle. However, at this point in the movie, the song came across as being extremely sad. And in fact, not only Judy Garland, but the rest of the cast and crew who watched her performance couldn't help but crying while she sang it. Because of this, they kept the original version in the movie. Do you remember the scene in Emerald City where they're being pulled in a cart or chariot by a bunch of multicolored horses? The way that they colored those horses was actually covering their bodies in jello crystals. All the scenes that they had with those horses had to be shot extremely quickly because the horses kept licking the crystals off of each other's bodies. A little bit ago I was talking about the Munchkins in the movie. Something interesting about that, the only two Munchkins whose real voices are used in the movie are the ones who hand Dorothy the flowers. They had other actors' voices present those lines and dub them over because a lot of the Munchkins who came to film for the movie didn't speak English. You know those iconic red slippers that Dorothy wears throughout the movie? Well, apparently in L. Frank Baum's book, he's the guy who originally wrote The Wizard of Oz, the slippers were actually silver. But now, those iconic red slippers live at the Smithsonian Institution. They're actually so popular with the people who visit the institution that the carpet in front of the display case has been changed multiple times due to wear and tear. Do you remember in the movie when the Wicked Witch tries to take off the ruby slippers from Dorothy's feet by hand? Well, in the movie they had fire coming directly out of the slippers to stop her from doing that. In reality, that fire was actually dark apple juice spewing out of the shoes, and they just sped up the film to somehow make it look like fire. Don't ask me how they did that. I have no idea how apple juice turns into fire. The Tin Man costume, who was worn by Jack Haley, was actually so tight that during breaks, Jack Haley couldn't take it off and had to be leaned against a board to rest. Anthony Daniels, the guy who played C-3PO in Star Wars, actually had the same issue with his costume. Now this last fact is really interesting to me, and it's almost like kind of a plot twist, conspiracy theory type thing, which is why I wanted to include it and which is why I saved it for last. Do you guys remember that during the Kansas scenes, Dorothy had this really weird neighbor who was a really scary lady named Miss Gulch? I'm pretty sure she actually tried to steal Toto from Dorothy at one point. The actress who played her actually played the Wicked Witch of the West, because you know how Dorothy had these real people in her life go into her vision in the land of Oz. Well, during the tornado scene, and this is a pretty iconic scene in the movie, when Dorothy looks out her window, she sees Miss Gulch riding her bike through the air. But she actually turns from riding her bike through the air to riding a broomstick and turning into the witch. Now, like I said, Miss Gulch and the Wicked Witch of the West have always thought to have been the same character because they're played by the same actress. But when she's dressed up as the witch, you see that her shoes are shimmering in the light, almost as if she's wearing those ruby slippers. But if Miss Gulch is supposedly the Wicked Witch of the West, why would she be wearing her red shoes in the tornado? If that was the case, she wouldn't need the red shoes when they get to Oz, because she would already have them. Because of this, it's actually thought that Dorothy's neighbor is the Wicked Witch of the East. And as she's flying through this tornado into the land of Oz, the house lands on top of her, and that's what kills her. So that's actually pretty interesting to me, because every time that I've watched the movie, I always thought her neighbor was the Wicked Witch of the West, but that does prove to be an interesting point. But like I said, that is the last fact I have for you guys today, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did like it, make sure you rate and comment down below, and then maybe subscribe, because I do these videos every week about different movies. Next week, I'm going to be doing, because there's actually a surprisingly large demand for it, my favorite movie of all time, Fight Club. Fight Club is probably, in my opinion, the best movie ever created, and there's actually that poster right there, if you guys can't see it with this lens, lists the 8 rules of Fight Club. And my favorite part about doing that movie is I have read the list of facts for Fight Club multiple times, multiple different websites, and there's a couple of things I know that you might not even find online. Or if you do, you'll have to do a lot of extra searching. So what I'm saying is you guys have that to look forward to next week. And don't forget, if you want to stay in touch with what I'm doing between videos, you can always follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, like my Facebook fan page. The Facebook fan page is where you can message me your own recommendations for videos, along with your own conspiracy theories or theories that you find other places. Those pages are just basically where you can connect with me when I'm not doing this. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching. Stay beautiful, stay awesome, and stay fresh.